The third episode opens with a scene charged with tension. Beerus found himself slammed against the wall, humiliated by a child who, not long ago, had been nothing more than a shadow of his father. Goten advanced with steady steps, his eyes burning like embers, raising his hand slowly as the energy sphere forming in his palm seemed to swallow the very space around it. Goten's voice cut through the silence like a sharp blade.
You stopped me from reaching my goal before, but now I'll be the one to stop you from living.
The words weren't just a threat, they were a death sentence, spoken with chilling calm. Everyone froze. Vegeta frowned, unable to comprehend how such a young boy could reach this level. Gohan shouted, desperate to awaken his brother from his madness. Krillin and Piccolo watched in horror, while Goku cried out with all his strength, his voice filled with pleading. "Goten, stop! Leave him! Don't let anger consume you!" But Goten did not turn, his features drowning in a rage none of them had ever witnessed before. In the palace, the Grand Priest watched with a grim face, his fists clenched in tension. He whispered to himself, "If I let this continue, Beerus won't survive, and perhaps the universe itself will collapse. But if I interfere, Zeno will oppose me." The priest was powerless to act, for Zeno sat beside his throne, clapping with childlike joy, enjoying the spectacle as though it were a show without end. Back on the battlefield, Goten unleashed his inner fury, the energy sphere glowing in his hand. Suddenly, he screamed and released his power. The air exploded, a shockwave shook the ground, hurling everyone backward, forcing some to raise their arms to shield their faces. Whis, always so calm and composed, was eye-wide in shock as he muttered to himself, "That's a killing force. There's no way Beerus can survive this." The companions were overwhelmed by shock, each convinced it was the end of Beerus. As the dust began to clear, the scene slowly revealed itself. Beerus lay sprawled on the ground, his body drenched in blood and scratches, his features trembling from the impact. But he wasn't dead. He forced himself up with difficulty, sneering through ragged breaths. "You couldn't kill me, you weak child!" The words came out cold, but it was a desperate attempt to mask the terror within him. Suddenly, a cold smile appeared on Goten's face, a smile none of them had ever seen from him before. He raised his head slightly and spoke with a voice as sharp as steel. "I didn't want to kill you yet. I wanted to have some fun first. I'll make you taste torment before I finish you." The words fell like thunderbolts. Beerus froze for a moment, shock clear in his eyes, while the others were choked with disbelief. Krillin clenched his fists, thinking, "This isn't the Goten we know. He's completely changed." With a sorrowful face, Goku raised his voice. "Goten, stop! This isn't you! Don't let your anger turn you into something you can't control. The ending won't be in your favor." But the reply wasn't what anyone expected. Goten turned his head slightly toward his father, staring at him coldly before replying with a rudeness Goku had never heard from his son.
You don't understand anything, father. You spent your whole life fighting, yet you achieved nothing but failure against your strongest foes. You always forgave your enemies. From the beginning, Beerus was an enemy. He wanted to destroy our planet, if not for the chance he found in food. He mocked us, threatened us, and yet you let him, not once considering to end him. I won't be like you. I won't be a disappointment. Now in my hands lies a key to change, and I will change everything, the entire order of it all.
Goku trembled, his eyes widening as though a sword had been driven through his chest. He couldn't believe these words had come from his own son. The friends exchanged uneasy glances. Gohan shouted, "Goten, snap out of it! This isn't you!" But the boy kept walking towards Beerus, each step making the air heavier around them. At that moment, Whis broke the silence with his calm voice, sounding like a psychologist explaining the condition of a dangerously unstable patient. This Goten is no longer that innocent child. Years of bottled-up pressure have erupted within him. His constant sense of being his father and brother's shadow, his frustration at never being acknowledged as a true warrior, and the fear of failure he buried deep inside. All of it has now exploded after seeing his father wounded before his eyes. What we see now is nothing but the embodiment of his inner turmoil and boiling emotions. As Whis explained, the scene grew more brutal. Goten struck Beerus with rapid, crushing blows, not meant to kill, but to humiliate. Beerus staggered, breathing heavily, blood spraying with each punch, while Goten continued with that cold smile, savoring the control he had over the god of destruction's fate. Everyone watched, powerless to intervene. But the moment wasn't confined to Earth. Its echoes reached across the universes. The other gods of destruction gathered with their attendants, watching through cosmic orbs, each reacting in their own way. Belmode laughed mockingly, saying, "So this is your end, Beerus. You always pretended to be superior, to be untouchable, and now you're nothing but a mouse in the hands of a child." Some of the others shook their heads in disdain, but Champa was the strangest. Leaning back, his heavy voice carried an odd note. "Beerus, you fool. I always hated you, but it's strange to see you like this. I don't know. Maybe I wanted to be the one to take you down, not someone else." Vados's voice, however, was filled with concern. "This isn't normal. What worries me is not Beerus, it's Whis. He's committed a grave crime by training Goten to this level. If it's proven he allowed this child to reach such power, the punishment awaiting him will be far worse than losing his position before father." On Earth, the situation reached its climax. Goten grabbed Beerus's head with both hands, his fingers digging into the god's skull. Sweat and blood streamed down Beerus's face as he screamed in agony. His head looked like it might burst under the crushing force. For the first time, Beerus's scream carried true fear. But Goten didn't stop. He pressed harder, the air around them spiraling into a violent storm of destruction. As he was about to crush Beerus's head, Goku's voice thundered through the battlefield. "Goten, stop! If you continue down this path, then don't ever consider yourself my son again. You've brought me shame. On me, on our family, and on the entire Earth." The words pierced Goten's heart like knives. Everyone was stunned by their harshness. Suddenly, Goten's body began to shake violently. He screamed in unbearable agony, as if a massive energy was surging back inside him, burning him from within. His veins bulged, and his body convulsed under the overwhelming force. Everyone gasped in shock. Krillin shouted, "What's happening to him?" Gohan leapt forward in fear. "Goten!" Goten collapsed completely onto the ground, his body trembling in agony. Whis was the only one who seemed to understand. He placed a hand on his chin and explained with concern, "Ultra Instinct. It isn't just a transformation, it's a state of mind and body." The psychological and emotional pressure Goten endured made him use this power recklessly. Now his body is paying the price. It seems his very cells cannot withstand the burden. Everyone was stunned by the explanation, their faces clouded with worry. As for Beerus, drenched in blood and sweat, sprawled on the ground, he looked at Goten with a mix of shock and hatred. Inside he thought, "Impossible. This child nearly killed me. If not for this breakdown, my end would have been here. But this is my golden chance. I won't let him rise again." Beerus began to crawl, struggling despite the pain, his eyes glinting with malice. At that moment, The weeping Goten looked from afar at his father's shocked face, Goku's harsh words still echoing in his head like a stab. "You are no longer my son." Tears mixed with Goten's sweat as he stretched his trembling hand toward his father, whispering in a broken voice, "Dad, don't leave me." The moment split. Beerus preparing to pounce and finish Goten, while Goku wrestled with his guilt and the cruelty of his own words. Then Goku shouted with all his might, "Stop, Beerus!" But Beerus, seizing Goten's weakness, gathered the last of his energy and fired a death beam straight into the boy's chest. The entire battlefield shook as the beam pierced Goten's body, a small explosion followed by his agonizing scream. Goten collapsed, blood pouring from his chest, his body still flickering with unstable Ultra Instinct light. It was too late. Everyone froze in place. Whis put a hand to his forehead in shock, unable to believe Beerus had gone this far. Vegeta, despite his pride, widened his eyes in disbelief and muttered, This is madness." Gohan rushed forward, tears in his eyes. "Goten! Goten!" They all gathered around the boy lying on the ground, his breath ragged, the glow around him fading away. Goku knelt beside his son, tears streaming down his face as he shook him gently. "Goten, my son, don't give up. Please, forgive me. I didn't mean those words. Forgive me, my boy."
Goten, his voice weak and broken, smiled despite his pain. "Dad, don't apologize. It's my fault. All of this is because of me. I only wanted to be like you, to prove I wasn't weak. Forgive me instead." Everyone began to cry, even Vegeta, who bit his lip and turned his face away to hide his emotions. Goku sobbing harder, "No, my son, you never failed me. I was always proud of you, and you'll always be my hero, no matter what." Goten raised his trembling hand, touching his father's cheek and gently wiping away his tears. Then he whispered, his voice broken, "Dad, I achieved my dream. I reached Ultra Instinct. That was my goal. And now, I want to give it to you." Goku shaking his head with tears streaming, "No, don't do it. You'll lose your life." But Goten smiled, blood still dripping. "Don't worry. This is my gift to you, Father. My power, my life, everything I have, for you." His body began to glow once again, the energy of Ultra Instinct gathering and flowing slowly into Goku through his outstretched hand. Goku tried to push it away, crying, "Stop! I don't want this! I want you, not your power!" But Goten whispered his final words, smiling softly, "You'll always be my hero, Dad." Then he closed his eyes in peace, his light slowly fading as the Ultra Instinct energy merged into Goku's body.
A deadly silence consumed the battlefield. Everyone was in shock while Goku sat holding his son in his arms. Then, the ground shook with the echo of Goku's scream. A scream no one had ever heard before, a mixture of pain, sorrow, and pure rage. The earth beneath his feet began to crack, and the sky opened with strange colors, as though the universe itself was responding to his grief. Goku, cradling his dead son in his arms, walked forward slowly, each step striking the hearts of all who watched. Tears still poured from his eyes, but at the same time, Goten's energy flowed within him, warm, pure, like his son's soul living on eternally inside his father. And then the change began. The air around him ignited with brilliant light. His hair rose suddenly, turning into a shining white, purer than any form before. His eyes became glowing golden, their gaze piercing straight through the soul. Everyone stepped back in awe. Vegeta whispered under his breath, "Impossible. This isn't Ultra Instinct. It's something beyond." Whis covered his mouth stunned. Goten's power merged with Goku, creating a level never seen before. From his corner, Beerus, writhing in pain, widened his eyes. "What is this? Is this my end?" At first, Goku said nothing. He stood surrounded by radiant light, looking almost like an angel of pure energy. Then, in a deep voice, filled with sorrow and tenderness, he whispered to himself, "Goten, thank you, my son. Your power will remain with me. I'll make it eternal, and I'll avenge you." He lifted his head and fixed his gaze directly at Beerus. His steps were steady, calm, but each one made Beerus feel as though he was staring death in the face. Vegeta couldn't hold himself back. "Kakarot, what have you become?" But Goku did not answer. His eyes were fixed only on Beerus.